therootwave.com.
Make some more.
What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for returning back to the Perspective series on therootwave.com. In this episode, I have Bronx Sole. Gentlemen, please introduce yourself to the audience and let us know where we can find you, please.
Justin Mache, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Bronx Sole. That's Bronx Sole.
How y'all doing? My name is Pedro Rivera. Like Justin said, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Eventbrite.
Awesome. So I'm going to put all that information below. I really appreciate you guys being on the channel. I've been eyeing you guys since I started myself. So it's great to have you guys. I've seen the progression that you guys made and the impact that you guys have in the Bronx, in the community, and based on what you're doing. So if you wouldn't mind explaining to us a little bit about what you do, so that way whoever's watching can understand it, please.
So we are a community-based organization based around fitness, and we run every Tuesday and Saturdays. And on Tuesdays we do a little history, a Bronx history, and then Saturdays just a run. And we also do some volunteer work with soup kitchens, clean up at the parks, stuff like that.
So tell me a little bit about how this started. Like, where did the idea come from? Also, who was the mastermind behind actually putting historical moments behind that, right? Because you guys do add a lot of like Bronx history into your runs, and then also how did that lead into you guys doing, work with the community?
Well, it started. Pedro and I used to run together. We used to do a lot of free Nike event runs, and we met actually at a Nike event. And then we would run with a group called Bridge Runners at there in Manhattan, downtown, and it would always be the same group that's on the train heading back to the Bronx. There'd always be all the Bronx people coming back on the train, all of us together, and I think just we would always vent. I'm sure a couple people, it was a few people that would vent about we always have to leave the Bronx to go to a running event, and nothing's ever in the Bronx. And so I had mentioned the idea of starting a running group to Pedro, and but it was supposed to be just a regular competitive running group, not what it is today. And prior to that, Pedro had been taking me with him on these Bronx history walking tours, which happened to fascinate me because I didn't know, the only history I knew about the Bronx was when it was burning. So it was just fascinating to me that there was so much more history that I didn't know. And I think the big seller for me was when I found out like that the Capitol Dome was built in the Bronx and that the Lincoln Memorial was carved right here in the Bronx. Then I was like, that's crazy. And then a friend of mine, Joy Spears, she is a teacher over near Parkchester, Archer Elementary School, and she sent me an article about the Bronx being the unhealthiest county in the state of New York, which is 62 counties, and the Bronx at that time had been 6 years straight. And so I didn't think it was real. And then she was like, oh, this is real. And I was like, that's crazy, because I'm not originally from the Bronx. So I was like, I moved here and I found a place that I like to be, and there's this, how is this? And so I mentioned it to Pedro, and I was like, and he was like, I thought you were gonna start a running group, and I was like, now it would have to be a running group that's not for runners, because if we're the unhealthiest, it's gonna have to be geared toward people who are not active. So it's basically going to be the non-active running group. And then I was like, oh, and then we could incorporate Bronx history, because I feel like people would be fascinated, to which Pedro didn't think so, but I was like, I think so, we could try it. And I told him it would just be me and him then if no one showed up. And that's pretty much how it started on September 13th, 2016.
Yeah, it's pretty smart what you guys are doing. You guys added an element that I noticed other running groups don't do. Not only what you just said, which I didn't even pay attention to, that you guys, it's true, I do look at your feed and I'm like, it is very inviting for everyone in the Bronx to come through. And then that little extra spice of, hey, we're gonna learn something today. What has been the response from the Bronx in the last couple of years that you've been doing this?
The feedback is mostly positive. When we run in the streets, people always cheer us on. They always say they're gonna come out, but you know, life, people, they see running as a huge hurdle, but we tell them it's like it's sexy pace. We out here for y'all. We not running fast. If you want to run fast, this is not the group for you. We out here running with everybody. Anybody that's slow, anybody that's just starting out, and then people think we charge people. Like, nah, it's all free. It's all free. It's all love, and we wait for everybody. Nobody gets left behind. We all in this together, and we worked out. We work with Parks Department. We partner up with Bronx River Alliance. It's always positive.
Have you heard from any businesses in the area or any politicians in the area about what you're doing?
We've had what's his name, Serrano. I can't think of his first name right now. He's come out and run with us, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's followed us on Instagram. There's another politician.
Santana.
Yeah.
And then Pavon, which he was running. He didn't win, but we've done a stop at his house.
Have you guys run into any issues actually running out in the Bronx, whether it be an issue or difficulties for the group, or have you encountered like a real awesome story while you guys have been out?
Honestly, probably just the sidewalks. That's like the main thing, running out in the streets. But we've taken people with us running. They'll see us like, oh, and they just join us and then run with us till we finish. Or like kids will run like a few blocks with us, but you know, their parents not gonna let us just run with strangers, but they'll run 1 or 2 blocks and cheer us on, and you know.
Now I noticed that you guys are doing a lot of community work, right? Giving back. Where did that come from? How did that start? And if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit of what you've done so far, please.
So, I mean, we were created for the community, basically, because we are the unhealthiest county. So, I mean, it's just part of what we do in general. Even before this COVID-19, before this pandemic, we always did some type of community service. We clean up parks. We do Meals on Wheels. We recently, during this pandemic, we were delivering pizzas to frontline workers. We delivered to all 12 Bronx hospitals pizza to the different shifts at the different hospitals and beyond the Bronx. We went to Harlem. We went to up to Westchester County. We're actually still not finished with that, but anything we can do, we always keep in our stories. We always keep the community informed on what's going on. You know, if you like, we just had voting. We had the link in our bio so that people could find their polling site. Anything that's community based and that's for the Bronx community, that's positive and for the Bronx, the people of the Bronx, then we're all for it. We do have to be careful on who we partner with and who, you know, we associate with, because dealing with gentrification and things in the Bronx, we have to be more careful as to who we decide to work with and who we don't. So, and if we have to do a lot of research, even when just like we do research for these historical sites that we go to, we have to do research on a new business that just opened. are they cool? Should we patronize this business? Like, or are they working with developers? We gotta, it's just part of what we have to do now. It's work, but it's worth it.
Are there any projects that you guys have coming in the future that you're either excited to share with us right now or are having any difficulty, and maybe someone watching this may say, hey, I can help you guys?
Also, one event that we do have that was supposed to be this year was the BX All Day Community Relay, which was going to be a relay of just regular Bronxites. We were going to have a baton and we were going to go 62 miles around the Bronx. It was going to it was going to be kids, seniors, regular adults. We were going to pass the baton and let somebody ride their bike. They could bike, they could skate, they could run, they could walk. If they're in a wheelchair, they could do all that as long as they're not. They wouldn't be driving a car, of course, but that's what we had coming up, but that's probably going to be next year sometime.
Is there any ideas on possibly you guys hosting, or maybe like you said, the event right now, making it a tradition on a yearly basis, so that way the Bronx has like its own marathon or its own thing?
Yeah, actually, Pedro and I, we had mapped out a marathon in the Bronx, but because we're the unhealthiest county, it's really not realistic to do a marathon in the Bronx. I mean, Pedro could tell you that, the first marathon was in the Bronx, and he could give you the information and the details on that. But the reason why we have the BX All Day Community Relay is because it brings it more for the people. Because if we had a marathon in the Bronx, to be honest, the majority of the people participating aren't going to be the people that live in the Bronx. It's going to be people coming from all the other boroughs and beyond to run in the race. So that's the only reason why we chose to scrap that.
Now, when it comes to what you've created so far, another reason I have you on the channel is because what you've done so far takes a lot of consistency, it takes a lot of work. For anybody that's watching right now and looking to form their own little groups, whether it be running or any other activity in the Bronx, especially in the Bronx because we need it, what advice would you give them in order to actually get these things done, from the idea being brought into the air and then actually being formalized? What would you suggest to them?
Consistency. And don't be dismayed about how many people show up or whatever. Just be consistent and just talk to people. Try to bring them out. Just being consistent is like number one.
But logistically, how do you guys actually get that done? Like, what can you advise as far as logistically or operation wise? How do you get that consistency in place for something like this?
I mean, this is a job for me. We're going to work every Tuesday before COVID. Like, I'm there Tuesday. It doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever. We going to run unless there's a blizzard or like thunderstorms. Every Tuesday we meet. Doesn't matter if it's only one of us or two of us. We just gonna run. Don't worry about how many people showing up. Just Tuesday, that's your job. You clocking in at 6:30, whatever time it is, and just be there. Just show up.
Do you guys plan to have anything for like, since you're talking about the Bronx and its health, do you guys plan on doing anything with like children so that way they can grow up in the Bronx thinking like, hey, we need to exercise more, we need to be healthier?
We worked was that last year or the year before with the Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club. We actually partnered with Bronx Narratives. They actually invited us to be a part of their field day, and we had, for our event, we had them doing like little relays back and forth on the in the gym. And then we also just recently had interns from South Bronx Charter School. I can't remember the actual high school, but we had 4 interns, high school interns, that helped us create routes. They researched history, and and they came out on runs and did the runs and the run walks with us, and sometimes brought their friends. So we have more plans to reach out and do more events with kids, because they're the future, and definitely the future of the Bronx. So
yeah. Before all this COVID thing, we were supposed to team up with the new boys and girls club on Third Ave. Before it's supposed to open soon in the fall sometime, but who knows with COVID now. But we were supposed to do some work with them.
So what we've decided to do, because we want to make sure that we don't have a huge crowd. I know that everyone has been so here it is. So majority of our runners are not runners. They're not. When I say not runners, I mean they're not
competitive,
and it's not something that they do on their own. They come out to Bronx Sole because they love to socialize, they love the people, and they love the fact that we run and we talk, and before you know it, we're either at the history stop or we're done. And so they come out because it's a social run, walk, or walk. And so because I know everyone's been inside, and I knew it was probably, if we had posted, it would be probably a massive turnout, because everybody's like, yeah, everybody's gained, quarantine weight. So it's like, I knew a massive amount of people would come out. So we decided to put an Eventbrite so we could limit how many people could show up. So they literally have to go on Eventbrite if they want to come out with us on Tuesdays. They have to go on Eventbrite Sunday at 7 p.m. is when it will post. And if they want to come out on Wednesday at 7 p.m., it'll post for Saturday. And basically we keep it between 15 people. It depends on how many captains we have. It's usually about 4 or 5 people per captain. So that's no more than a group of 6 running. But last night it was groups of 4. One group of 5. The most people we ever had was 51 people, and I think that was when we had Professor Oltan, who is the Bronx historian. He didn't run with us, but we did our run, and then we met him, and he actually took us on a history tour of his home. He grew up, of the building that he grew up in.
So I don't want to keep you guys too long, but what I want to do before we leave is, if you wouldn't mind giving the viewers, who a lot of them are from the Bronx, some send-off with some type of motivation or inspiration, some information as well on what they can do to better themselves. Doesn't have to be just running, but just how to actually get things done for themselves, because a lot of what you guys are doing is not only getting them off the couch and running, but you guys are actually opening their minds to possibilities. So if you wouldn't mind just giving them a little inspirational send-off before we leave, please.
All I can say is it's never too late. Too late is in the grave. So it's never too late to start. We have a member who had been watching us for months and was just afraid to come out. Didn't think he was fit enough. Didn't think a lot of things. Always made an excuse for him not to come out, and then ended up running into one of our captains in the store and mentioned it to one of our captains, and he encouraged him to come out, and then he came out, and he's been coming ever since. He's been coming whenever he can ever since. So it's not about how fit you are. Clearly, that's why we started. So we don't expect you to be super fit, but we do have some people that are super fit, but they still have a good time. No matter what you look like, no matter what you think, just come out, and I guarantee that you'll have a good time. You'll enjoy yourself, because we're not regimented. We don't run a certain pace. We're not drill sergeants. We're not yelling at you. We're not telling you have to do this, you need to do that. It's very free and lax, and it's chill.
Pedro, would you like to give us a send-off as well, please?
Don't let your brain lie to you. Your brain will tell you, don't do this. Just relax. You don't have to do it. We're lazy by nature. Just don't shut it off and just go out and do it. Just start. Just start. A little bit a day, baby steps, and by the time you look back and you took 1,000 steps already. So just start. Don't listen to your brain. You can always do a little bit more. The brain will sabotage you into thinking you can't do something. Just do it.
I appreciate that, gentlemen. If you wouldn't mind one more time just letting us know where we can find you, and when you have your runs as well, so when people see this, they can reach out, please.
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bronx Sole, Bronx Sole. We run on Tuesdays. We meet at 6. We leave at about 6:30 at Francis Eagle Park, 153rd Street and Grand Concourse. And we also redo a run on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Now, I just want to say real quick so that people understand, when I say run, we have 3 groups. There's a running group, there's a run-walk group, and there's a walking group. So there's something for everyone. So no one gets left behind, and there's a place for everyone. We have people that started, and we have people who run all the time, and then some days they just feel lazy and they want to do the run walk. It just is what it is. But it's for everyone, and it's just a good time. You'll never know until you come out.
Well, I appreciate you both for taking time to join me right here and actually explain this to the audience. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I've been following you for a bit. I hope that this grows even bigger for you. I hope this also benefits the Bronx the way it has been already, and I can definitely see that. Your mission behind all of this is amazing. So I think there's no reason that it won't explode even bigger, because I think the Bronx is starting to realize how much we are unhealthy and how much we have to. I got to be honest, I'm not even in the Bronx right now, but just I've been traveling the East Coast, and I'm like, wow, we truly are unhealthy. Our food is, we don't get access to good food, to quality food, to, the education of actually saying, hey, don't eat this, eat a little more of that. We're missing a lot of that, and that includes also physical activity that you guys are actually providing for the Bronx, and like you said, making it comfortable for people to actually say, hey, it's not bad, let me go out there and just walk a little bit or run or jog, so that way we can be healthy, and at the same time everybody's socializing and learning something. So I really appreciate that, what you're doing for the Bronx. I'm sure the Bronx appreciates that as well. Thank you again for being on this channel. I'm sure I'll have you guys on again. And to my audience, please go support them. I will have all the information below, so that way you can reach out. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you guys around. Later, guys.
All right. Thank you.